Okay, welcome. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about trauma and how even if you've not actually had trauma done to you, but you've witnessed it, then that is also traumatic. So I just want to talk about that a bit today. So I'm kind of hiding here by the woodshed. It's a bit windy in the garden. I'm just going to show you around the garden a bit, but obviously not today. Just reading Joy Schaverien book. I'm interviewing her tomorrow on my podcast. And there's so many things in here that I find fascinating. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today is just around this idea that so many of us at boarding school have normalized what happened to us. And in particular, we've normalized things around trauma. So for me, I wasn't bullied really. There was an odd instance of people, having a go at me. But generally I wasn't bullied. But I was witness, because in our boarding school there was very little privacy, open dorms, 26 people in a dorm. It was like if someone else was being bullied, then you were witnessing that. If someone else was having a fight or something was happening, you were witness of that. And what I really kind of resonated with in this book is that it is still traumatic. And because we normalize it, say, well, boarding school wasn't too bad, I wasn't really bullied. What she's saying, what I'm understanding, is that actually that's still trauma. And I think that's really, really powerful for us, because I think often we can dismiss our experiences at boarding school as, well, that was just normal. That's what everyone else had to go through. But I think what I noticed is that certainly at my school, when I first got there, noticed everyone else was dealing with their anger. That was one of my issues, was my anger. I was full of rage, and it was like, well, I saw no one else was having this problem, so it must be my fault. Everyone else is normal and I'm not, so I need to draw myself to line with them. Or maybe I wanted to cry, and it's like, well, no one else is. They're all managing to keep it together. So it's like we normalize it. But it doesn't mean that it is normal. So I just really wanted to talk about that a bit. That if you feel, you went to boarding school, but, it was okay. But you saw a lot of abuse going on. Bullying, people being beaten up, or constantly picked on. It's like that still was trauma, and that still affects you. So for me, and I've talked about that a bit before in my own video about rules, is that because we witnessed something happening to others. Maybe they were being emotional, they got angry. We made unwritten rules that it's not safe to get angry. It's not safe to show emotion. It's not safe to be intimate with others. These unwritten rules, we kind of put them into place. And therefore we carry it moving forward. And it affects us, our intimate relationships. Joy Schaverien talks about this, that, that's one of the key areas we struggle in, intimate relationships. So, yeah. So I just feel that, it's just maybe an exploring. It's like a softening of the heart, moving from the head where we normalize stuff into the heart. How does that feel? How does it feel to have seen these things? It's like, oh, that was really painful. This is how it felt. And then we process it, we kind of grieve, and I feel that's really key for us with any trauma. So even if you didn't go to boarding school, but you watched maybe your mother and your father fighting, and maybe your parents physically fighting, that is still trauma. It might not have happened to you, but it's like still our body, has gone into that fear response. you know, or the fight, flight, freeze. You've gone into the freeze, like, you know, and I feel part of our work is then to drop down into the body again, to feel this, to grieve, to go, oh my God, yeah, that was really tough, and then let the tears flow. Feel the grief that we've held all these years. And it might be there's many, many, you know, hours or days, weeks of tears. But the other side of that is this big open heart. And in Buddhism, it's like this idea of compassion springs from our suffering. That when I really truly feel my suffering, I feel what I went through, I therefore can make that wish that may no person go through the hell that I've been through. And our heart softens. So I realise this is maybe a little bit disjointed today. I've not really prepared much, but yeah, I just really feel this is important for us. That and what can we do is therefore to do the work. Is to go, right, okay, yeah, I went to boarding school, or I saw trauma as a child. It's like, right, I can do some work there. It might be just spending a bit of time in nature, just softening, allowing the grieving process to happen. Maybe it's to see a coach or a therapist. You know, maybe it's to, you know, to do some journaling, to really go, what was it like? Oh my God, yeah, that was like that. And allow these feelings to bubble up. We know we've suppressed them, and we've put everything down into the basement, and so it's just allowing them to bubble up, and see, you know, and to let them kind of heal, let them heal. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the interview tomorrow. My intention is doing it in the afternoon, and then depending if I need to edit it, but hopefully put it up on the Friday. But if I have to edit and I have to spend a few days doing that, then it might be next week. But yeah, I've got lots of questions. Be talking to her for about an hour, but I feel I could speak to her for days. Looking through this, I'm like, oh, trauma, you know, developmental trauma, that. So I feel excited about speaking. So yeah, and if you think of other people in the world of trauma or you know, boarding school, you think, oh, I'd love to hear you speak to them, then please do let me know. And if you agree with the person who's quoted, then do a like. The more people who are interested in me talking about these things, then you know, I therefore can go to these people and say, yeah, there's lots of people interested in it, a conversation. So have a wonderful day, wonderful week, and many blessings to you, and take care.